how to save a lot of money and install the new Apple macOS Big Sur on officially unsupported devices. Down in the video description, I give you a link to a Google Drive repository where you can download the Big Sur installer. It's version 11.0.1, around 12 gigabytes. So give it like a few minutes to download. And when you have downloaded it, you just put it down into your programs folder. So it show up as macOS, install macOS Big Sur under your programs. So do that now, and in the meantime, we can start downloading the micropatcher. What is a micropatcher? So if you just try to start this file here, it will start decompressing and all that stuff. It says continue, and then okay, we have the license accepted, and we want to install this one, and it says the update cannot be installed on this computer because it's officially not supported. So we need a micropatcher to just skip this check and continue with the installation and let him install this on the device. So Barry, and I give you the link to his repository on GitHub down in the description, he has programmed a micropatcher that just patches the Big Sur installer to just do that. So we need to download this as well, and you have to just click on the green button here where it says code, download zip, and it starts downloading the zip file. After that, you go to your download folder, just click on the zip file, and it will decompress it into a regular folder where we can work with. And now we just, in the meantime, where it still downloads the Big Sur installer file, we can just prepare a USB stick that we need for installing. It has to have at least 16 gigabytes, and I just will put it into my USB port here on the device, and it shows up here in the top corner. But now we have to format that stick, and then we have to create a bootable installer. How are we going to do that? You just go to the Launchpad, Other, and you just start the hard disk tool, and down here you just see external drives, and that is the USB flash drive media. And so we just click on it and say delete, and we just call it USB. That makes it easier for the terminal commands afterwards. We have to format is as macOS extended journaled with a GUID partition table. Delete. Then it starts formatting the USB drive. And it's done. And now it shows here in the corner as USB, and it's an empty USB drive with 16 gigabytes. And when you have downloaded the installer file and put it under the programs, we can just continue with the terminal. So we start the terminal, and if you just don't have it down here, it's in the same folder where the hard disk drive is. It says here terminal, and it shows up like this. It's just a command terminal, and we now have to do a bootable installer. How to do that? There's an easy description, and if you're on the website from Barry and just scroll down, there is like the instructions for use, and under point 5 it says we have to use the create install media command from Apple, and if you just click on that, it opens up the Apple website from the Apple support. You just scroll down until you find the section Big Sur, and you just take all this, highlight it, copy, and you go back into your terminal. Where do I have it? There it is. And paste it. There it is. One more step. This my volume at the end. You just delete that and change it to USB. That's the name you gave the USB media as we formatted it a few steps before. And now, what does this thing, this command? It just says, okay, go into Applications, install macOS Big Sur. That's the file, the 12 gigabyte file you just downloaded and put into your programs, into your applications, and use in this file, use the create install media. There's a section in it to the volume USB, to your USB stick. If you have hit enter, because it says sudo at the beginning, that's super user do, so it needs root access. You have to enter your password where you log into your Mac. Okay, so I will just enter my password, hit enter, and it says ready to start. It will again erase everything on your USB stick. That's not a problem because we already erased it. And then we type Y for yes and enter. And now it takes a time, it's not that much, where you see it's erasing the USB stick. And now it starts copying all the 12 gigabyte from the installer file onto your USB stick. And depending if you're using USB 2.0 or 3.0, that takes a while. So just give it about 15-20 minutes until it says 100%. All right, the tool has finished. It's 100% and it's made bootable. So as you can see, the install media is now available at install macOS Big Sur. So when I just close this, you see the USB has been renamed to install macOS Big Sur. Right now, you could just take that USB drive, put it into any supported Mac, and upgrade to Big Sur. But if I use it here, the same as if I try to open the installer directly, it would say it's an unsupported device and won't let me install Big Sur. So we have to go to the second step, and you see it on Barry's instructions. We now have to run the micropatcher, the script. And the micropatcher script is called micropatcher.sh. And it's inside that folder that you downloaded and extracted from his repository. So we go into the terminal again, and if you want to see what's in which folder you just type ls for list. And then you see all the folders or the subfolders from the folder you just write in there. So as you downloaded it, it's most probably in the download folder, so you just change into that folder by typing cd downloads, change directory, and type another ls. So you see the contents of the download folder. And there you see bigsur micropatcher main.zip, that's the file you downloaded, and bigsur micropatcher main, that's the folder where you extracted all that stuff. So we just type cd for change directory, bigsur micropatcher -main, enter, and now we're inside that folder. So you do another ls and you see the contents, and there you see the script micropatcher.sh. And to run that script, and be sure to have the USB drive still inserted and still showing up in the top right corner, you just type /micropatcher.sh, hit enter, and as you see, he thanks a lot of guys for their support. Checking read access, yes, he has read access, and he's patching com.apple.boot.plist. That is a file on the boot section of this USB stick that does the check if the device is supported. Then it's installing some other scripts and adding some other stuff, syncing, and it says finished. So right now, we can just put it into the USB port of any unsupported device and it should install. But on Gary's page, if I just move this a little bit to the side, it just says under point 7 that another program needs to be patched on the USB stick, and we have to run install setvars.sh. Same procedure, /, and we use install setvars.sh, enter. And that's the same like the create install media, it needs root access. So you have to type in your password where you log in onto your Mac again. Just do this. And now, okay, it has detected the USB stick. It has detected, as you can see here, that the model is a MacPro 5.1. That's the 2012 Mac Pro unsupported. And so he says this Mac is not a late 13 iMac, so that's the only one that that needs a different configuration. So it's just disabling some stuff. We don't need to know what it is. Just if you have a late 13 iMac, it will enable that. All other devices will be disabled. And it's installing the setvars AV utility. Has the verbose mode disabled. That means that all those status stuff coming up on the setup, on the boot, and not only the Apple logo. Yeah, it just unmounted the USB stick and it's finished. And now that stick should be prepared to install bigsur on my Mac. And for that, I have to restart my Mac. And there's another hint if you just go back to Barry's instructions. And under point 9 it says restart the Mac while holding down the Option key to use the startup selector. Then you can choose from which hard drive the Mac will start. I just will remove my other hard drives and just keep one empty hard drive in it where I try this installation, because I don't want to mess up with my Catalina installation. I just have up and running. And then the installer USB will actually show up as two different drives. One is install macOS bigsur, and the file I gave you the link for on the Google Drive. It's not a beta anymore, it's 11.0.1. And the second drive is AV boot, and we have to start up from AV boot from the USB stick, and then within a few seconds, almost most likely in under a second, the Mac will suddenly power down. This indicates that the setvars AV utility has finished making the necessary changes to the Mac's NVRAM settings. That is some setup on the NVRAM. That is like a little hard disk on your Mac that stores some variables and all that stuff. Then you turn it on again with the Option key, holding down, and now you choose install macOS bigsur, and then it should go on with the installation. I'm going to show you this on my Mac, but therefore I have to switch the cameras and I have to film the screen actually, because while we are doing restarts and all that stuff, I cannot just stream it onto the video. So let me just switch the camera. So if you own a Mac Pro model from 2010 to 2012, the big aluminum one that I have here, you most probably have upgraded it to a metal capable graphics card. Apple on its homepage shows a list of officially compatible graphic cards that you can put into this Mac to have it metal enabled and to officially support it until macOS Mojave. So this is the fastest you can get. It's the RX 580, the Radeon RX 580, but it's a regular PC graphic card, so it doesn't have a Mac BIOS on it. So the downside of that is that you don't see the boot screen, you don't see the Apple logo and the bar when there's like an upgrade, and you don't see the boot selector that we need for the USB stick right now to select first the AV boot and then the bigsur installation. In order to see that, you have to switch back to an original Mac graphics card. That is one of the two cards that were installed when I bought it. It's an HD 5770, and that's an original Mac card. So I will just put this into the Mac in order to see the boot selector, And when the installation is done, I just switch back to the Sapphire Radeon RX 580 to have metal support, and it's way faster than this one. Alright, so I changed the graphics card back to the old HD 5770, and now I'm trying to start up the Mac, and hopefully if I hold the Option key pressed down while I'm starting, I should see a boot selector, and then we can go on with the instructions from Barry. Alright, here we are. We have the boot selector up and running, and as the instruction said, we start with the FE boot part. So if you just switch to FE boot and hit return, you see it switches instantly off. So the NVRAM is now programmed. I start up again, hold the Option key again. Alright, here we are again. Install macOS Big Sur selected. I hit enter, and then the instruction already warned us it could take a long time until this setup comes up, because yeah, it's not supported, and we just have to have a little bit of patience. So the installer has loaded, and it says us to switch on the wireless mouse and keyboard. So just we hit the button down here so it knows keyboard and mouse are activated. And yes, here we are in the setup. We can use the hard disk tool here just to clean the whole hard disk to prepare it for installation, and then we keep on. Okay, here we are. The installer says it's ready to install Big Sur, and now let's check if those scripts work correctly, and it let us install this on this officially unsupported hardware. License. There's the hard disk, and it says continue. So this seems to work, and it says about 31 minutes. Let's see how long it really takes. Alright, setup's complete. It took about half an hour, so what it displayed like 31 minutes. That was a good value for that. And now we're gonna go through the setup, and I think there's one more step missing that was in the instructions from Barry. I think that's about the Wi-Fi, so let's head through the setup and check if that's needed. Here you can see that the option Wi-Fi is grayed out, so the Wi-Fi is not recognized by Big Sur, and that's what Barry is talking about in the next setup to reactivate the Wi-Fi. I just select it's not connected with the internet right now and complete the setup. So you see all the graphics really slow and really sluggish and all that stuff. That's because this graphics card is not metal capable, and Big Sur requires metal, and that's because it's so slow. As soon as we change the graphics card back to the RX 580, it should be all smooth and running. Alright, as we don't have the Wi-Fi driver yet, so you see this one here is grayed out, and if you click on it and they say network, you just see the Ethernet connection and the Bluetooth. There's no Wi-Fi driver, as it was promised that Big Sur doesn't recognize the driver by itself. We have to go to the terminal one more time, and it's the same. We go to the launchpad, and we go to other, and then we just, and here you see it's so slow and sluggish because it
this old graphic card doesn't support metal. We go to the terminal and we have to install the driver in the terminal. And I just increase the size a little bit so you can read it. Alright, here we are in the terminal, and make sure you have plugged in your USB stick again. So it says install macOS Big Sur here in the top right corner. And then we only need one command, and I'll explain what that does. And you say volumes. So we want to go to the volumes, and then we want to get onto the USB stick, and that is called install. But then there is a space in the naming, and so you need a backslash and then a space, otherwise it won't recognize it. macOS, and then you need another backspace and a space, big backspace space sur, and then we have targeted the USB stick, and then you make another slash and you go to patch texts.sh. You don't need to do any other stuff because there's only one volume where it should patch. So we hit return, and now it needs the password again. And you see, okay, there's no Wi-Fi option specified, and it detected a model MacPro 5.1. and it's using the 2012 patch node. That's correct. And it's installing Big Sur installation. Alright, it's checking for backups. Okay, it backed up the kernel and all those stuff. Beginning patched text installation, and it's using the Mojave hybrid Wi-Fi patch. That should enable Big Sur to use the old Wi-Fi card, because I haven't changed any Wi-Fi card in this macOS. To use it and to enable the Wi-Fi. Alright, there we are, and it says installed patch text successfully. That was it. So if we now do a reboot, it should find the Wi-Fi card, and we should be able to connect to the internet. Alright, there we are. Just enter the password. There we are, it restored the last session. We don't need this one anymore, so we do exit and kill the terminal, and there you see. So let's check if we just use Safari if we have an internet connection. Okay, and we try to get to the Apple homepage. Yes, we are in the internet. So let's just change the graphics card, do another reboot, and then we should be done.